evening. You're welcome to this edition of the Significant Live broadcast. My name is Pastor Phil Modo.
And I'm Pastor Peace Modo.
And this is also to wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year in advance, believing that 2021 will be a far more better year for you compared with 2020. Today we'll be looking at something special. We want to look at birth pangs and how it relates to your achieving destiny, how it relates to your living a significant life. I believe that God is going to speak to you especially today. We're taking our Bible reading from the book of Psalms, Psalms 42 verses 6 to 7. Psalms 42 verses 6 to 7. Here, David chronicles his experience, how he went through seasons of birth pangs in his life. Of course, David had many of those experiences, as we begin to see, in other scriptures we're going to read as time goes on. But this text, captures David's experience. Psalms 42 verses 6 to 8. Oh my God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore will I remember thee from the land of Jordan, and of the Ammonites from the hill Mizar. Deep calleth unto deep at the noise of thy water sprout. All thy waves and thy billows are gone over me. Yet the Lord will command his loving kindness in the daytime, and in the night his song shall be with me, and my prayer unto the God of my life, the God of my destiny. Hallelujah. David says three categories of things here. Number one, he says, my soul is cast down within me. I feel depressed. And number two, he says, deep calls unto deep. This emotional state is calling something deep. Okay? And number three, he says, at the mornings when all this pain will be over, he said, I will see, God will reveal his loving kindness. But before this loving kindness is produced, in the ninth season, he says, I will give attention to prayer, to the God of my destiny, and to singing praises unto him. So these are the things we'll be looking at for the next 2 weeks, and how you can and nurse these, your birth pangs, and produce something significant through them. When you look at a woman that is about to put to bed, that's about to deliver a baby, you discover that she goes through seasons of pain, seasons of pangs, where she begins to feel emotional pains, physical pains, even spiritual pains in some cases, characterized by cramps, by contractions, by some mishmash of emotions that she cannot even understand. The same way it happens to a woman who is about to deliver a baby. That is how it happens when you're about to produce anything of note. You go through seasons when you begin to feel pain, when you begin to feel, pangs, when you begin to feel cramps, unrest in the spirit, unrest in your mind, unrest in your emotion, sometimes even physical unrest, physical cramps and pains. Those are birth pangs in destiny. They are precursors to your delivering something new, to your producing something different. And when you begin to feel this, don't waste that pain. Try to understand it and try to use it to deliver and produce that next new thing. This message will be showing you how those pains manifest, and by next week we'll begin to look at how you can actually trap down those pains and use them to produce something different. Okay, now there are dimensions to this pain. There are dimensions to this pain. There are things you feel, just to help you understand how these pains come, so that you can relate with them when you have those pains. Number one dimension to these birth pangs in destiny is a deep felt dissatisfaction with the status quo. Deep felt dissatisfaction with the status quo, where you begin to feel uncomfortable with the way things are going on. Sometimes it is status quo in the society. Sometimes it's a personal status quo. You just get tired of the situation of things. You just get tired with your level. You just get tired with your state and status in life, and you just want more. You get hungry for more. No, it cannot be like this. Something different must happen. I am more than this. I know life should be better than this for me. Okay? Once you get to that point of dissatisfaction, of deep-seated dissatisfaction, then you know it's time to give birth to something new. Talking about dissatisfaction, I remember a story by Mike Bamiloye, when he described what happened pre to the production of Agbaranla TV series that, went across Nigeria, touched lives, affected lives in a lot of ways. He described what happened. Pastor Peace, I think you were sharing about that. Just tell us what happened.
Yeah, of course, we all
let's
know.
see how it relates to this.
We all know Mike Bamiloye, the director of Mount Zion movies. He noticed then that most of the movies in town, of course, they were just few writers, and movie producers then. The few writers were writing actually to promote witchcraft, and other negative things. And he felt bitter about this. He wanted a contrary view. They were promoting the power of the devil. And so he wanted to promote the power of Jesus, which supersedes all other powers. Yeah. And so this made him uncomfortable. He was dissatisfied with what he was seeing. There was a time he had to go to the cinema to see one of the movies. And he said when he came back, he felt very terrible. Why? Because this movie was actually promoting witchcraft, their power, and then he said he trekked from the cinema to his house, which were some kilometers away. But he didn't know, because he was overwhelmed with this thought. He trekked all the way to his house. And when he got to his house, at a point, he collapsed and started crying that, God, I want to do something contrary to what these people are saying.
Something for you.
Yes, because I know that your power is above every other power. And so this became like a bedpan. He was not comfortable. He just wanted to do something different. And eventually, that brought about Agbaranla.
Yeah.
That we all enjoyed. I remember I was very young when Agbaranla came out. And when it was time for Agbaranla, we were always rushing to sit at the front of the TV to watch. Yeah. And I tell you, it blessed and it changed a lot of mindset then. Yeah. Because we were like put under the fear of witchcraft and all that. But Agbaranla made it possible for us to see that actually there is another power that supersedes that of the devil. Hallelujah. So he was able to achieve that because he had this dissatisfaction with what he was seeing. And so at the end of the day, he was able to achieve that dream of Agbaranla. And of course, today a lot more has been produced.
Yes, that's it. This dissatisfaction helps to produce, something significant. Because you want a change in status quo. You want something different. So that brings you to the point where you actually push and draw in the spirit, to produce something new. Another dimension to these bedpangs is this inexplainable, overwhelming weight. When you feel overwhelmed, with feelings that sometimes you can't even explain. David describes this when he said, when my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. So you get to a point where you are overwhelmed with emotions that you can't explain, with feelings that you can't describe. Sometimes you cannot place your hands on it. You just know that something is amiss somewhere. And this can hang over you for days, can hang over you for weeks, can even hang over you for months. You just go through a season of feeling overwhelmed with inexplainable emotion. That is bedpan. Something is about to break in the spirit. Something is about to happen that you can't place a finger on. The third way you feel these bedpangs is by going through seasons of emotional pain as a result of a particular thing. Emotional pain, sometimes it's like you are almost getting depressed, about a particular scenario, about a particular circumstance, a particular happening around you. You just start feeling this sense of emotional pain that is heavy, this heaviness that is as a result of a particular thing. The former one I said, the second dimension I talked about, inexplainable. You can't explain it. Okay, but in this case, it's as a result of a particular thing. Possibly, you want to achieve a particular thing, and that thing becomes a burden to your heart, and that burden is overwhelming, that burden is overbearing, and you say, oh God, what a pain. Just like what Jesus went through before he gave birth to salvation. The Bible tells us in the Garden of Gethsemane, that Jesus Christ felt so much pain. He knew the reason for the pain. He knew it was for him to die, for the sin of mankind, and give birth to a new order, give birth to a world of saved people. He knew that was it. But the pain came as a result of that new thing he was about to give birth to. The Bible said he felt sorrow unto death. Have you got to that point in your life where the burden is so heavy? It's like it's going to kill you. That was what Jesus went through. The magnitude of what you're about to give birth to will often, define the magnitude of the pain you feel, the emotional pain that you feel, the burden you feel at this point. If you're going to give birth to something insignificant, the burden may not be much. But if you're going to give birth to something as big as a world-class project, hey, you don't expect to have, light burdens. It will be heavy on you. Okay, it will be heavy on you. But that shows you something is about to happen. Something is about to break. Hallelujah. Something's about to come forth from you. Hallelujah. One of the things that the pangs begin to do for you is that it brings you to a point where everything around you begins to speak to you to deepen the pain, and also to make clearer what you're about to produce. For example, you discover that circumstances around you begin to point towards these things that should change. Events around you begins to point to these things that must change. Places you go to, you begin to see things that you normally would not see. I remember part of the story that my family is shared. After he finished watching, I think that was Giant Cine, and he was going home. On his way home, he stumbled at another crusade where they were showing this. In those days, they used to show this. We used to have a lot of movie shows, for crusades, and you will see those foreign movies where most times their accents you don't understand what they are saying, and someone has to now interpret. And most times, depending on interpreting, we even say something that was not implied in the movie. So he said he was just walking, through the crusade and was watching the movie. So it's and what seemed the burden for him. So in times when you feel these bed pangs, you discover that things are beginning to happen around you, pointing you further into reasons why you must have it different. You go to places and you see things that speak to you. You go to you're talking with a friend and they just say some things that speaks to you and tell you that there must be a change. When all these things begin to happen around you, please know that you're about to produce something new. Please know that you're about to give birth to something different. You're about to produce something that will astound your world, will change the trajectory. Okay, so the pain is not just a pain. No, it is indicative of the fact that something new is about to be bettered on earth. It's indicative of the fact that something different is about to be produced through you. And if you pay attention to the pain, if you pay attention to the pangs, if you pay attention to the emotional trauma, if you pay attention to what the world around you is saying to you in the midst of that pain, I assure you, you will produce and you will definitely give back to something different that will shock the world. I believe that you've learned something new. We'll continue this next week, as we look at, how to, draw out value from the pain. I believe that you've been blessed today and that your life will not remain the same as you begin to understand better what these bed pangs are and how to produce results from it. Till we meet again next week, Wednesday, for another edition of the Significant Life broadcast. Remember, Jesus is coming soon. Bye-bye.